Hey, welcome back, guys. Man, it has been a long time since I made a video. Life really got busy for Julie and I, and you know, it's really an exciting day due to the fact that over the spans of time where I posted about building our tornado shelter way back when, and then I mentioned that we were going to be building a tornado-resistant home. Living here in Texas, we have had some serious tornadoes, and this is 2024. This is the 1st of June, and we have had, I believe, up to this point, 95 tornadoes here in Texas. And, you know, speaking with Texans that have been here all their life, this is the worst tornado season that they have ever seen. And, excuse me, and I swallowed a bug. But you know, we've had some really close calls. We had no intentions of living in this park model for as long as we have. We sold our diesel pusher and we moved into this due to the fact that the diesel pusher was a gorgeous motorhome, and living in it full time, it was just taking a toll on it. So we sold it, got the park model, and you know, we're just done with the tiny. You know, at first the tiny home living was really kind of cool, you know, easy to maintain. We minimized our way of life, our way of living, and you know, it was cool up to a certain point. But you know, we've got 2 large Malamutes. We have 6 cats, thanks to our daughter bringing a cat home every chance she could, and we couldn't just give them to the pound, so she moved out. She went off to medical school, and we still have the 6 cats. Daughter's out of medical school, and we're no longer having to fund that adventure, and we're now to the point to where we're gonna hopefully get our home built, and we're not gonna have to run to the shelter every single, you know, time we get a tornado warning. So here we go. Come on. Oh, these guys are a hoot. I love that horn. Okay, there we go. Well, here we go. This is the start of the excavation. Unfortunately, we didn't have any cameras recording. So here is the results of us leveling the ground and getting it ready to dig all the holes for the footings. We got all the footings dug, but today we are dialing them in with the transit, and we're going to get them all level. And starting tomorrow, we're going to start pouring. It's been averaging 100 degrees, and we work until about 12. If it comes in earlier, we normally work till about 11, then we pick back up around 5 or 6 when the shade ends up, sun goes behind these trees here, and then we get shade. Heat's still here, but at least we're not being toasted by the radiation. It's a couple days since my last recording, and every day's been 100 plus.
and concrete's been running from us 105-degree weather. It's been going really slow. It takes 5 bags per footing, and takes about, to mix it with the mixer and screed it and set the rebar. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour, and moving along slowly. But today we had 7 left this morning, and we're gonna end up getting the 7 knocked out today.
Well, here's another part of Texas that you must get used to, and that is flash flood downpours. This, ladies and gentlemen, will show up out of nowhere. The sun will be shining, everything will be beautiful. Next thing you know, here you go. You know what they say here in Texas? If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. Well, got up this morning and we looked out and we kind of laughed because when the sun was coming up and the shadowing and so forth of the barrels, it looked like Arlington Cemetery. But here we go. We have our barrels, 55-gallon drums. The design that we're using is the plastic drums. We cut out the bottoms and the tops and fill them up with concrete. And that's going to happen today. Every time I record, these guys have to come running. Okay, guys, you're going to have to calm down. Come on. Hey, you can't park there. Hey. Hold on a second. What we've been doing is keeping an eye out on Marketplace and Craigslist and so forth. And every time we see something that can work in our house, we go and get it. So far we picked up windows. We're talking, big windows, double pane, and as cheap as $25 a piece, 4-foot size windows, 55-gallon drums. We saved money there. These were like $5 a piece compared to the sonotubes over here, which are $100 a tube, which is just ridiculous. I mean, literally $400 sitting right there. And I ended up purchasing 18 drums. Didn't have to use 18, bought a couple extra for other projects. We ended up getting these for $100. So that's the reason why we went this way. And yes, we are going to end up putting more concrete into them, but I really wanted it that way due to the fact that with all the weight and so forth, I just wanted heavier footings underneath the home. So here's our water well being dug. Another step to self-sufficiency. Get off Texas City water. Not only does it taste bad, they've had 1 or 2 chlorination alerts due to bacteria and so forth. And normally in a well you don't have to worry about it. Not to say that you can't have contaminated wells, because you obviously can, but if you want to go self-sufficient, this is the way to go. Get yourself a well, solar system, get off the grid. Well, we finally got the well plumbed, and you can see here that I plumbed it so that the well supplies our neighbors, and everything runs great. We have oversized plumbing pipe. We get a lot of volume. I shot it out of a 2-inch pipe, about 30 feet. I mean, this is a 3-horsepower pump, and this is going to get the job done. One thing that we did experience is when you first drill a well, at least here in Texas. We didn't have this problem in Oregon, but you get a sulfur smell. And hopefully that sulfur smell will clear out. Other than that, we're sitting at about 40 gallons a minute. Concrete guys are showing up in order to do the job that I was supposed to do, but I threw my back out. Turned 60 a week or so ago, and I don't know, turning 60 must have made me age or weaken my back or something to that effect, because I just don't have the strength. All I did was just bent over to look underneath my truck. I stood up and whammo. First time he pushed the container into the truck and wiped out that tail light, and ta-da, we had to have a matching set. So number 2 tail light got wiped out also. Finally got the pillars filled. We're just finishing, kind of leveling everything out around the pillars, and we still have to cut our barrels down and then weld our plates to the rebar. How we're getting it done, as you can see, there's the metal plate sunk down into the rebar, but we are actually welding the rebar to the plate, and that should give us a great foundational support.
cleaning the plates and welding the plates to the rebar.
And then hopefully tomorrow, if all goes well, we're going to start loading all of the containers
up onto the pillars. And it should be a very busy day.
Okay, so last night we ended up really taking our time since we've never done this before. I've never driven a Skytrax. Skytrax's not hard to drive. It's just that when you have to finesse something into perfect position, then it really makes it difficult. Skytrax have the ability to turn all four wheels certain directions when you end up hitting this button or that button in order to adjust things. I haven't learned all that yet to where, getting four wheels to operate how exactly runs. So this morning, we're just going to dial everything in and make sure that everything is square. I mean, it's pretty close to being square right now, but my ADD doesn't say that it's perfect yet, which it's not. Unfortunately, we're supposed to have up to 20-mile-an-hour gusts, and let me tell you something. When you only have a 5-foot spread on your forks on a 40-foot container, it's really tippy. It wants to tip back and forth, and it'll actually fall over. I'm not sure if it's still too dark or not, but underneath you have ribs. Okay, and these ribs, if they're bent at all, then it will affect how it's going to set on the pillars. And, it's kind of one of those things that you have to inspect it after it's up in the air. I have seen on a couple of videos that the bottom was kind of mangled, and it affects how they sit, which obviously is something that you want to take seriously, because no matter how perfect your pillars are, it can mess up how it sits. So we're going to end up putting a 6-foot level on this thing, make sure that it's square, and then we're just going to run off of that for the other 4. Underneath here, you can see how there's nothing solid for the forks. So the forks actually go up into a hollow cavity, and that just kind of makes everything that much more tippy. So you can see that it sits on the fork there, but then the forks go up underneath. That's the reason why you have to have chains and straps, especially if you get any wind. You're gonna have to keep this thing stable from tipping off.
very stressful day for me due to the fact that I had never driven 10,000 pound Skytrack, which is no big deal. I was just, you know, it really was easy, other than when you have to finesse these into place and you don't want to start slamming them together and just, you know, say putting in the second one here and banging it against the first one and then knocking it out of whack on the pillars. You know, it's all pretty much move very slow, turn slow, lift slow. At the very end of the day, I decided to try to finesse the last container in with a come along, and silly me, didn't realize that the come along was only like a, I don't know, it wasn't a big enough come along in order to pull a 8,800 pound container. And the handle snapped back and yeehaw. 20 inches off the ground, which is all I needed in order to have enough clearance in order to get my my plumbing to drop to meet up with the septic line. Yesterday I got up there and I sealed all of the containers together except for the last one. I didn't quite get the, I got that row, you can see the caulking, that row, and that one there's 90% done. So then I have the last row there. That took me 2 cases in order to put these together. And then I'm gonna cut the flat bar, which I thought I was gonna do by now, depending on how the weather treats us tomorrow. It could be an inside day to where I'm going to do all my inside work in the shop. We are having one heck of a time. Every time we go to get started inside the container, we have thunder and lightning. I do not have these units grounded, which obviously is something that we're going to want to do. So because it's lightning and storming out, we decided to bail, and this has been like the 10th stop today, so our production level is down to almost 0. It's just been one of them days to where everything that we had planned from the moment we got up as to what we were going to get done has fallen through. So yeah, sometimes it happens. Let's let this storm pass and we'll get back at it. Well, we got the ground all regraded, well, the best we could, in order for water runoff. We didn't have it graded properly, and in the downpours, water was running under the home instead of away from the home, so we had to redo that. You remember here, we had the power and water that ran through here, and we left it open here because we're going to put a spigot in right here after the fact. And then we'll get this all buttoned up out here, and then we'll have power and water. So we're pretty excited. So things are moving along. These containers have been, some have been dropped, twisted, pushed, pulled, and even though that there's big steel outer beams that's supposedly going to hold everything together, you know, they could still be out of plumb, out of whack, and you just have to do the best you can in order to put them together. So let me get some stuff done here, and then I'll take a shot of it and bring you up to speed. So there's my first plate right there, welding the ends together. Next I have to weld down, and then this plate here, sorry about that, this plate will end up welding right up there like so. After I grind the whole thing and prep the metal, then after all that's done, then I should be able to prep the roof.
clear pattern with blue sky above. So there you go.
This is what is called torch down. And torch down basically is a product that is rubberized, as you can see here. And what you do is you take a torch and then you melt it directly down onto the containers itself. This product lasts a long time. Normally when you use it on some type of wood structure, you have a base material that you put down first, and then you end up melting it down onto the base material. But in this situation with the containers, we're melting it directly to the metal, and just, I couldn't ask for a better watertight seal. Let me show you. find out about torch down, you might want to investigate it due to the fact that our containers aren't going to leak. So if you want a guaranteed solution, this is it.
Okay, well, today is the day to where we're going to install our French doors. And obviously, never done this before. All you really got out there is YouTube, and you know, there's plenty of different channels to watch, and there's all different ways of doing doors. A lot of people will frame the walls and frame it all out before they install the doors. I'm going to try it a little bit different. I'm going to end up putting in channel iron, and then I'm going to install the door, and then I'm going to frame inside from there. I didn't want the geese. My wife had to have them. Went into Tractor Supply, seen baby geese and ducks. Next thing you know, we got 15 geese and ducks. Love my wife, but sometimes, you know, need to learn to make better decisions. And I've been falling behind a little bit due to the fact that I plan on doing stuff on the exterior, and the weather turns out to be poor, so I have to change my game plan up. And so in changing my game plan, I have to spend an hour or two and figure what I'm going to do next in order to utilize the time that I have. So let's get right to it. I apologize for talking so much, but I do realize that, at least for me, when I'm watching other channels in building these containers, I like the instruction, because obviously that's what everybody watches these for. You know, I've got friends and family that watches it just for entertainment purposes with no intentions of building a container home. But I would probably say the majority of people that watch these container home videos are interested parties that maybe one day wants to build and live in one themselves. There's going to be some stuff on this shipping container you've never seen before. So I'm going to be in my metal shop, doing a bunch of stuff, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. Let's get busy. I'm going to get the French doors. As you can see here, I've got it all taped out. I'm going to cut it out, and Julie is, let me turn, finishing stripping the doors. And then we're going to paint them so they're looking like brand new. Remember, these are $100 French doors. You know, all we have to do is put a little labor into it. Julie loves doing this stuff, so this is her forte. So she's going to make them look beautiful. Let's move forward. All cut in here. We're getting ready to fasten it to the container, and then we're going to actually hang the doors before we build our walls on each side and above, and just make sure that everything is attached and plumb and square, operating the way that it's supposed to. Let's see if we can get this door pretty much done today. Get her done. Here's our method of installing doors. It was really easy. The hardest part was the trying to figure out how to do it. Since it was the first time, once we got busy, it was done in no time. So there's our 2-inch angle iron, and we went ahead and we mounted it right to the door. No walls. A lot of people like to do their walls and then they install their doors. We're actually going to do that for the windows that are going to be installed in here, but I did want to show you here really quick what we do with our doors. So we attach the 2-inch angle iron onto the door framework, and then we go ahead and we silicone the angle iron to the container, screw it all together. Here's the completed door. Got the weather tape all on. This forever tape is incredible. This stuff here, when you put it on, it is not going to leak, especially when you end up sealing both sides. And it's all sealed up on the outside too. Just about ready to get our septic line in. Had a heavy rainstorm and it ended up filling in my ditch, so I had to re-dig it by hand since I don't have the rental anymore. We have the power and water that we're getting ready with. The power's already hooked up on the inside. And there is the infamous come along, where I decided that I was going to slice my finger wide open, thinking that I was going to be able to pull that last container on. And all I can recommend is don't do it.